All right, guys, we're back. We're here. Live recording from the Hex Haunted Attraction Tower here at Franklin County Speedway. This is the Pit Chatter Podcast. I'm your host, Langley Austin. Alongside of me is my co-host, Noah Hinchee. Noah, good to have you back again this week. I don't know how much longer I'm going to keep you on here. I'm thinking about firing you, but, I'll just let you know that ahead of time.
Let me know when you find somebody better than me. I'll be waiting.
I know you piss excellence and do all those things, so I don't know if I can.
I know you can't. That's why I said that. You ain't gonna find nobody better than me.
I'm gonna hire your brother. I think that's
yeah. Okay.
I mean, he's
let him call you tech guy, cross-eyed every week.
Listen, that was very entertaining. I mean, maybe not for the tech guy, but for me, I was all good.
I mean, tech guy ran with it.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Had taped it on his back and everything else. So, his idea to do so. Off weekend for us here at the track. Did you do anything?
I spent most of Sunday trying to rig up my antenna to watch the Sonoma race. Caught about the last 20 laps. I was out there holding it, putting tinfoil on the thing, couldn't figure it out. We're too poor for cable around here.
Wow.
But I finally caught the last 20 laps. I didn't really care anyway. It was a road course, so I'm not a big fan of those. But
man, I must not be paying too good if you can't even afford cable.
No, I'm still waiting on a raise.
No. Well, no. That chair, you raised up a little higher than I am. So I mean,
I'm still waiting on a sponsor for this chair, too. This thing makes my butt numb halfway through every podcast.
I'm waiting on the floor to be done so that I can, replace all the chairs in here and all that. But it seems like the floor is never going to be done in here. So it's not looking good.
Oh, well. Yeah. I'll bring my own chair eventually.
Oh, well. I went to 2 memorials this weekend, so I definitely don't want to talk about that. But good weekend off. Good weekend to have been racing, though. I can tell you that because my phone, my messenger, the messages on the page, people driving up Saturday. Man, I would have had a good crowd. I ain't had one of them in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I was kind of looking forward to the weekend off. And then come Saturday, I was just sitting there twiddling my thumbs. I'm like, kind of wish we were racing tonight.
Yeah, it's part of it. Can't race every week because the racers can't really afford it, and for whatever reason I pick all the worst weekends to be off. It's always great weather, and always seems like there's a lot of people calling or messaging about coming to a race that night. I can't tell you how shocked people were when I told them there wasn't no race when they called. You go, hey, what time's the race start tonight? No, there ain't one. What? It happens.
Of course, the one time everybody wants to show up.
Yeah. I don't know. It may be maybe there was same amount of phone calls as people that's normally here. Maybe they all just don't have Facebook. I don't really know.
Oh, well. What are you going to do?
I'm not going to do anything. But we are going to race this weekend. We got the Mountain Dew Father's Day at the track this weekend. Late models, mini stocks, legends, and stock 4s will be on the docket this weekend. Should be a good one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Getting back to it.
Hopefully a little better car count than the last race. Shared my frustrations on the last podcast about that. But looking forward to a better one this weekend. Stock 4 is as always delivered, but everybody else was kind of, a little bit off. But hopefully, got a bunch of guys have talked to me that have late models. We'll see if they actually show up. They do a lot of talking.
Yeah, what do you call them? Garage racers or something like that?
Facebook racers, baby.
Facebook racers.
Yeah, the other day, and I need to do this. I need to, one of the upcoming races, I need to just name it the Facebook Racers Night at the Track or something. Maybe they'll all show up.
Just tell all them guys that keep saying they're going to come. Tell them you'll let them in for a discounted price and see if they still don't show up.
They won't. They still won't show up. I let people in for free last year. They didn't show up, so... It doesn't matter what it costs or what it pays. I figured this out. It doesn't matter what it costs, what it pays, or anything else. There is nothing that motivates the people who don't want to race to race.
I don't understand how you could be like that. Just have a car sitting there and you're like, nah, I'm good.
Some people like expensive paperweights, man.
I guess.
Yeah. One guy who does not like an expensive paperweight, he's got some cars, races every week. That's Chris Lilly. He's with us tonight. Chris, appreciate you coming on with us tonight on the Pit Chatter Podcast.
Yeah, glad you could have me.
Yeah, man, definitely. You had to ride a little ways to get down here. I mean, you're not exactly the closest guy that races with us.
2-hour drive ain't nothing. I ain't afraid to hop in a car and go somewhere. So, I was glad to be able to come down here. I've been listening to all the podcasts, so glad I could finally be on one.
Good deal. Good deal. Brought along, I guess, your quote unquote teammate, Phil Smith. Phil, appreciate you being down here with us too.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. We like coming down here.
Yeah, man, for sure. Let's see, Chris. I guess first place we'll go is tell us a little bit about your history in racing. We talked about it a little bit during the pre-show, but I don't think a lot of the people here at Franklin County, they don't really know you past like last year, I think.
Yeah, I'm a new face to these parts, and I've had people that have raced down here, and they've always said you need to go down there. It's a fun track, it's a great place, and when you started bringing the legends on board, and when Brad came down here, he's really getting us motivated to come down, and we've had a blast every time we've come down here. But yeah, I've been running legend cars since mid 2010, so going on 14 years. Really I've always enjoyed it. First 2-3 years were rough because we started out, didn't know anything about legend cars. Really, didn't know how to set them up, didn't know what we were doing, I didn't know what I was doing wrong, didn't know how to drive them. So we went through a lot of trials and tribulations, trying to figure everything out, and I've always, for the most part, really enjoyed running the legend cars. They're fun cars to drive, and the community that's with them is the biggest thing. All the legend guys, we all pretty much get along. We have every now and then we have a bad night. But that's part of racing. But for the most part, if you need something, everybody will jump in, give you a hand, and it's a pretty good community. But yeah, I've been doing the legend thing for a pretty long time, and I'm hoping to continue doing that.
Yeah, you've been getting in some other cars here recently, though. Wes Givens put you in a stock 4 for several races here. I mean, honestly, without a caution, a couple races ago, you might have won one of those. You got out front and kind of got away from them.
If we can figure out how to keep it from puking all the coolant out of it and overheating, I might be able to get a decent finish, I think. I definitely got a lot to learn because I got to throw everything I know about the legend car out the window because nothing there computes to that stock 4. But I mean, I've had so much fun driving that thing. I thought he was joking when he first told me to hop in it. They were sitting in line staged to qualify, and he's like, "Go over there and hop in that Mitsubishi." I'm like, "Nah, I ain't got time for that." And he's like, "No, I'm serious. Go over there." I'm like, "All right, sure." And I about wrecked it in qualifying because I sent it down into turn 3, and my brain's thinking, when the car's sliding, you kind of got to be delicate and let it roll and try to catch it. And it's front wheel drive, and I'm just floor it.
Yep, it's the opposite in those. Yep.
It's been a lot of fun though.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. You also got the opportunity at your home track, Shenandoah, to drive one of the Super Cup Series cars. Tell us how that deal came about, and tell us about being in that car.
Aaron, their PR guy, he wanted to make sure they had a good car count and stuff for the race, and they had a guy back out, and he had watched me run there years prior, and he's kept up with me, and he said, I think I'd like to see you in the car, see what you can do with it, I guess. And they got me on board and told me to pay for fuel and hop in and drive it, and hard to say no to that. So it was equally a learning curve to that stock 4 because I've never drove a full-size rear-wheel drive car like that, and it was a lot of fun. I'll hop in anything and drive it. It doesn't matter if it's a tractor or the legend car or a school bus, whatever. I'll drive anything.
We got a tractor you can use here on the cleanup crew or something.
It wouldn't bother me. I would like to get on one of them buses for the school bus race.
I sold them, but yeah, I understand.
Hey, but for the tractor, you still have to pay for the fuel.
Oh, that's
for the cleanup crew.
Yeah, you got to bring your own diesel.
If you put me in a tractor with like 10 other people in tractors out there, I'll do that.
Yeah,
as long as I'm not the only one out there.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense to me.
Somebody end up decapitated before the end of that race.
Yeah, I don't think we're having a tractor race anytime soon. Phil, you told us you don't have a whole lot of experience stock car racing. You did have a drag car before, but got, I guess, about a year now in the Legends car. Tell us, what your experience has been so far in that.
Well, my finishes ought to show my experience level, so they're usually at the back. But it's a ton of fun. I mean, it is a lot different atmosphere. It's still motorsports friendly. You know, that's kind of in my blood. You know, just and without Chris and his dad, obviously I wouldn't be in this. You know, it just. You know, we dig on these cars all week long to get them ready, and you know, Danny makes me work on them. It ain't warranted without work. You know, we put in a lot of time with them cars every week, getting them ready to go race, and it's just a lot of fun. You know, to come down here and hang out, and you know, the fans that come out to this racetrack it's a lot of fans here, which is it's pretty awesome to see. You know, and you come down here and y'all give back to the racing, the racers. You know, where some of the other tracks don't. You know, that's a big draw to here.
Yeah. We you know, we must be doing it the wrong way though. We don't get as many cars as other people do. I don't. I've never figured that part out, but you know, it's a whole nother conversation for another day. Chris, you've obviously had a dominating season here so far. I mean, you've only lost 2 races. One of them sort of by your choice, by starting in the rear. I don't know that you'd have won or lost. Can't say for sure because obviously it would have had to have played out. But got beat by Ethan Troll the last race. Man, he seems to be coming on. Going to be, I guess, your fiercest competition here.
Well, yeah, he's picked up, and I figured so. He's only going to get better as this year progresses and the years go on. Fully expect that. But we're pretty close with each other. I think it's kind of just one of those things. Whoever gets out in front of each other first is it's going to be kind of a follow the leader game. I mean, unless you make a real big mistake or anything. But I've had a lot of fun racing with him. You know, it's a lot of competition, which is the whole joy of racing, honestly. But we'll be back and we'll have I'm sure a lot more close finishes and a lot of battling, throughout the rest of this year. We'll get, I think, a couple off weekends. CJ and them, I think, talked about coming. Hopefully we'll get, pack a bunch of legend cars in here for some of these races, and we can really put on a really good show.
Yeah, we started off really good. They've fallen off the last couple of races, just for various reasons. And I think one of them was what you mentioned when you started talking about your career, and even, Phil talking about, running around in the back. This isn't the easiest class to just jump into.
Oh no, it's difficult. You gotta have a lot of patience because you can get frustrated, and you're going to get frustrated. Driving one of these cars.
I think we've got a lot of guys who have gotten frustrated really fast, especially this year.
Yeah, and it's going to happen. And this is a really fun track, but it's got a lot of character, and there's a certain way to get around here that. If you don't have the experience, learning it can be a little bit of a challenge. It reminds me, honestly, back when we ran Southside, before they closed down. Older track is a little rougher, but it's got a lot of character, and once you figure out how to get around here, it's so much fun. But just figuring that out, especially if you're new getting into it, can be a little intimidating and frustrating. Yeah. But we're always trying to help everybody out that we can. We chit and chatter, with everybody here I race with, and try to help each other out. Hey bud, try opening up your entry or exit. Have some pointers, because at the end of the day, we all don't want to be running around by ourselves out there. We want to be side by side. We want to be bumper to bumper, and put on a show. And if I'm going to win, I want to work for it. I don't want to go out there and just run green to checkered. I want somebody either on my bumper or I want to be on their bumper because I want to work for it.
Yeah, sure. No, I think he's trying to say the track's not smooth.
I figured that. He said it nicely.
I'll make one point. Like, I run the exact setup gear. Like, everything that I run back at Shenandoah is what I run here, other than I had to raise the entire car up. Because when I first came here, I was bottoming out on both ends of the track. And I'm like, we'll just raise it up a little bit. And that's honestly what I've continued to run.
It's interesting that the setups are the same because the tracks are nothing alike.
It works. It could probably be better, honestly, but it works. The times have proved it. I've turned a really good time with it, and there's always room for improvement. But between the two, I mean, the car, I can put it anywhere on the track I want. I can run the top side for a little while. I can run the bottom wherever. But it is kind of shocking, when you say that, because there's a lot of banking here. It's narrower. Shenandoah's kind of same size track, but it's completely different.
Phil, is that what makes it even more challenging for you? You said your experience level shows on the track. Is that what makes it even more challenging for you, or do you run better at Shenandoah? Is there a difference?
I think I do run better at Shenandoah. I get some practice there. Danny takes me there and really works with me. And honestly, from where I started here last year to where I'm at now, my lap times have improved a lot. You know, I'm up in the middle of the pack now running. I was joking about the back, but man, that's a tough little car to drive. I've got to drive some of the stock cars at those paid events for contractors and stuff, but man, that thing will get out underneath of you in a minute. And what I feel like I'm driving, like when Chris follows me, he's like, man, you running it in there too far. I'm like, what? And it don't make sense. But we can go out and like at Shenandoah and play around. I feel like I'm with him, and then we get in the race and it's just like he just checks out. It's just like, how's this kid do this? But and it's other ones, but last week I had fun, at Shenandoah. I did get to park it in Victory Lane for the first time on third place finish, so that was exciting. Hopefully keep banging around here, and maybe they'll have some car trouble or something. Maybe I'll get up there. Who knows?
I think he's like Ricky Bobby. If you ain't first, you're last. He's talking about last place, running mid-pack, running in the top 3 there.
That's how it feels, though.
Yeah,
I mean, really.
I know.
Yeah, and it seems like the closer you get to the front without actually winning, the worse it feels. Second place is, I got that thing 3 times in one night. And I've never been more upset.
That mid-pack is the dangerous place to be, though.
It really is.
Going through, I started in the back, worked my way up. Running in the back, you can get by unscathed, and you get to watch everything. But coming through and being in that middle pack is when you tear up stuff. That's when it really tests you on you, the car, everything.
That's where you learn the most, too.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's where a lot of that frustration comes out in them guys. They're running middle of the pack. They think they should be up front, so they ain't afraid.
They're not far off.
Yeah, and
they're not afraid to, make some aggressive moves to try to get to the front, and that's where you really have to watch out.
Yeah, you got to have patience.
Yeah, that's something most racers don't have.
Yeah.
You started in the rear, your choice, earlier in the year. That was the race I was talking about with you and Daniel Silvestri, where he took home the win. But, you may have been able to win if, you hadn't started in the rear or whatever. But, you methodically just came through the field. It wasn't like you just jumped out there and just rode by everybody, even though you were probably fast enough to go by them pretty a lot quicker than you did.
Yeah, and there's, we got a long enough race that I don't need to be moving anybody or anything like that. I can't dilly-dally because, I know Daniel's going. I was running that as hard as I could. And I think if we had a few more laps in that race, I could have gave him a run for his money there. I was right on his bumper when we got the checkered. But I think it's fun, and it's interesting for the fans, and I enjoy that. I don't need to win every race. I've been doing this long enough. This is a hobby. I enjoy it. I like helping people out. It's nice if I win. I want to win. I'm going to try, and I'm going to make it as hard as I possibly can to make, for somebody to pass me. But at the end of the day, I'm out here to put on a good show and have some fun.
You and Ethan Troll, you guys have been in some really intense battles. We mentioned it earlier. Last year, even, the side-by-side finish.
Well, I think since day one when I was here, when we had that side-by-side finish and I beat them by like a bumper.
Oh, it was by nothing, hardly.
Yeah, but that set the tone. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be some fun.
You guys seem to, the whole thing with the jump start, for him, a couple weeks back. I know you didn't really even agree with that. You told me after the race. You guys it's just you guys being lined up beside of each other. Is that what leads to what I would consider quote unquote games? You guys have to play with one another there?
Not really. My car babbles terribly.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole time I'm trying, if you try to hold part throttle, it's just going blah, 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 blah. And when they see my car nudge, they're like, "Oh, we're going." I'm assuming, is my standpoint on it. And maybe when I nudge, he thinks that we're going, or he's just trying to get an early jump. I don't know. But I've been on that side of it too, because last year when I was here with Beals, and I'm trying to get the best jump as I can on him because was on the 42 gear. I'm like, I have nothing on the restarts. Once we get going, I'm fine, but nothing on the restarts. And I'm trying to get that jump, and I got sent to the rear on the one in the race. I'm like, you'll be kidding me. But learn my lesson, and hopefully I ain't going to do it again. But I ain't going to be upset about it because at the end of the day, I mean, it's already done. There's nothing I can do after the race to change that.
Sure.
But no, I mean, he's going to, as close as we've been finishing, and he's really itching to beat me. Yeah, sure. Before he got that win, he was doing everything he possibly could. I was waiting. Honestly, I was a little surprised he didn't give me a couple big shots there on the last couple races because he's right on my bumper, and I was waiting for it. But he's really itching to get that win, so he's going to give everything he can, and that's the price you pay. If you're going to try to jump, can't be upset about it. But and like I said, the initial start is kind of up in the air. I didn't know if lines can move or not because the first start was he had a decent jump, but the second one probably could have been let by. We were somewhat side by side, but it didn't hurt my feelings. Is all I'm going to say.
I'm sure it did. But and I told them this, but I think the reason that they got called on that restart was because of the restart prior. And every restart prior to that, they're always in a position.
We had one, I think it was earlier this year, that because I think they had switched gears because I think their 410 went out and they were on the 42. And he tried, I think, rolling or starting. He was like 3 car lengths ahead and like just really jumping in.
That one.
I'm like, this is like, go ahead and call it. Like, I haven't even dropped the flag, but go ahead and call this one because it's not going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. And I'll be honest with you.
And you try to play games like, I've been, if I'm P2, I try to push the leader to go to a faster pace, or the pace I want to be at.
Sure.
Try inching forward to get them to pick up the pace.
Yep.
But if they're smart, they're the control car. Let them, let them set their own pace. And I'm not going to speed up just because he wants to. If I set the pace, and I know they're going to call it if he jumps it. I ain't going to budge from what I've been doing.
I mean, I can see that. I understand all that. I think, my opinion, and I told them this too, I jump every restart, at least the first time. Every start, every restart, because you're getting. If you're going to get one warning, I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Because maybe you don't call it.
Yeah. Well, and we didn't have a huge field, so I mean, honestly, getting sent to the back at the initial start isn't really much of a setback.
Yeah, going to sixth is not really.
It ain't.
Clear that out. Sixth. It's not the end of the world for sure. I don't know. I think you guys racing one another has been really exciting to watch. Even as you watch it go on, and even from last year, every time you guys are lined up beside each other for a start or restart, you need to be watching. It's going to be worth watching.
Yeah, well, that's what we try to do. That's people pay to come out here, and that's what they want to see. And that's, I still to this day, I've been racing a long time. Until we get to that green flag, like, sitting on pit road, running the pace laps, I feel like I'm going to throw up in that car half the time.
Right.
I feel sick to my stomach. But as soon as we get the green flag, immediately forget about everything and drive.
Makes sense.
I don't know if you guys notice, but everybody in here does. Yeah, and it's only with the Legends guys. I don't know why. Y'all are going in turn 3 over there. We can hear the entire field. Y'all all rev up. And you're not going full speed, obviously, but y'all are goosing it, every one of you, at the same time. And by the time y'all get around to the starting line, y'all are really already going. I mean, y'all are the only division that does that, and it's every single restart. I've noticed that a lot since I've just been watching this year.
I say, as long as we're all bunched up together, I think it'll be all right. We're usually ready to get up on the wheel. We want to get things going as quickly as we can.
Had Daniel Silvestri, I mentioned him earlier, ran some car store races, good Legends car racer too. He's here racing. What kind of, I know you guys have raced against each other a lot. What kind of challenge did it present having him out here in the mix of that competition?
I mean, it's fun. I've raced with Daniel for years, and I've known him a long time, and I know he's going to hit every mark perfectly. Like, he is the most consistent person I know. Like, he will go out there and set identical time after identical time, and he's going to get everything out of that car that he possibly can. But that also being said, we're all good friends, so the troubles they have, like, they kept finding a looseness in the car. Over the length of the race, the car would get looser and looser and looser, and I'm like, I'm going to use that to the best of my advantage, because especially at a green flag run, I just need to hang with you and then make you try to wear your car out more and speed up the progress of that car getting loose and tires getting hot, and speed that process up. But it's not too challenging, because I know Daniel's not going to tear me up. I'm not going to tear him up. We got a good history of racing together, and I can race him as hard as I'd race anybody else, but I still have that peace of mind that he's not going to do anything stupid.
Yeah. I know you haven't had a whole lot of time in the stock 4, but those guys beat the absolute crap out of one another, and I'm sure you've got. Oh,
I think 3 wide, and we're just kind of rubbing each other. I'm like, I couldn't do this with the Legend car. It's like therapy for me, just going out here and hitting people. And honestly, I would love to see if we could get enough to, like, some extra cars available, and get, like, Daniel, get a bunch of other drivers that have drove late models, other stuff, and get them out here. And it doesn't have to be a perfect car, but as long as it goes and maybe has brakes, go out here and just beat and bang and put on a show. Be 3 wide all the way around this track. I mean, I think that would be a blast.
See, you have an unpopular opinion, though. Most of the guys that race in higher classes, like I talked to Jeremy Mayfield when he was here, and I said something about, next time you come here, I will let you run my car. And every one of them is like, hell no, I ain't doing that. These dudes are crazy.
I think Jeremy really would, though. I think if you ask him in a different setting, maybe that was, those races. If you're watching those races, you might go, yeah, I ain't going out there. But if you're thinking about it, thinking back afterwards, you go, man, I'd probably get in one of them.
I would say my only concern, the seat could fit like 2 of me in it, so I had to put a tremendous amount of padding in there to hold me. That was my only concern, because I'm like, if I do end up wrecking this thing, it's a good chance I'm gonna get hurt. But I like
half
living.
The fun.
Yeah, that's half the fun. You get that adrenaline rush, and that's that's part of racing.
You've raced the Legends cars for so long, but you got in that stock 4 and you got in that Super Cup car. What's the most fun thing you've drove?
It's still the Legends. The stock 4 is relaxing because I don't have to worry so much about everything around me and being so delicate with it. I can really be abusive with that car and throw it in the corner and hit the curb or whatever.
Right.
The Legend car, it's a balance. You have to, drive the rails off that thing, but it's just constant balancing, putting power down and getting through the corners smoothly as possible. And I really enjoy that, because it takes a lot to do that, and especially when we got a bunch of us that are racing close together. It's the competitiveness of it is what you can't replicate.
I've said it before. I don't. My brain cannot process how those cars going so fast and are so small that y'all don't like hit a Mario Kart banana peel every time you throw it down in the turn, because it looks so. If you stand over there and and watch y'all throw it into the turn, you're like, there's no way he hangs on to this, and y'all do. Y'all make him stick every time. It blows my mind that y'all can hang on to him like that.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's definitely a balancing act, because you go too far over and it will go away in a second. It will go out from underneath you, or I've seen a lot of people, when it starts coming around, you'll get that quick snap oversteer and you'll overcorrect and go right into the wall.
Been there.
A lot of us have been there. I've been there.
You've definitely been there.
I've been there with just a seatbelt, and I'll tell you what, it hurt a lot. It didn't feel good.
Those Crown Vics weren't the safest thing we ever had racing here.
No, they were fun up until that lap.
I do think it'd be a good idea too with the stock 4s. You put passenger seats in them, and you take people on ride-alongs. You have radio. You can co-pilot with each other. I mean, I think that would get the fans involved.
I have told Langley
If
that
insurance
100
would allow
times.
it, that would get the fans involved.
There's an insurance you can buy for that.
Nobody will listen to me. I've said that 100 times. I'm like, come on. Let's
I don't
go
know
pick
that I'd ride with anybody, but I'll take someone for a ride.
Let's go have a fan drawing. We'll just pick out some fans and be like, y'all want to ride?
Yeah.
Come on down.
I mean, I think they should ride in the race, though, not separately. Go out there when they're beating
let
the
'em-
absolute crap out of one
Let them
another.
beat and bang. See what it feels like to get sideways. And
I mean, how do you think a passenger would feel riding around with Wes?
they
He might have to clean up his car afterwards.
if we're making somebody ride with West, we're going to have to make sure they don't have any prior heart conditions because more than likely they will not make it through the race.
Yeah, Tracy didn't do too good when he.
Oh,
rode
he
with
got out. He said,
He even
I'm
got, he
done.
even got out with Trey. So, yeah. Speaking of Wes, Phil, you and Wes had a little run in up at Shenandoah. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, we did. I mean, it was all good. I guess he felt like I run him down the track, and honestly, we both had equipment failure in the cars, and I didn't even realize he was back there because he had come out of the pits late
Yeah.
for that race because something was going on with his brakes. But
Yeah.
we had it. We had some little bit of words afterwards, but it was all good. I mean, listen, I'm new, and if I did it, it wasn't on purposely doing it for
Right.
sure. I mean, this guy rails these cars around here. I mean, he really can.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only guilty one. I see him get in other people's case down here too. So I mean, he's well known for that part of it.
He gets into it with a few people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
From time to time.
I do think it's funny when he first hopped into Legend car. He's like, these things ain't no joke. You know?
Yeah.
They'll wake you up.
Yeah, the first time he practiced Nathan Wheats down here, he was like, man, this thing, I don't know how they hold on to these things. And for him to say that, things he does is pretty impressive. And I think that's, I go back to that, talking about it earlier, you talking about how hard it is to set one of them up. But driving them is catching up with some of the people who have bought these cars and just, man, they look cool. They ain't necessarily as cool when you get in them and you're about to go
I've
spin.
run into a lot of people that, just because they're little, they're like, oh, it's like a go-kart. It's easy to drive and it looks neat.
Yeah, bull crap.
They get a real quick, harsh reality of how it is to drive some of these cars.
Yeah. And I guess, with us trying to build this class, that's an unfortunate side effect for us because I feel like we're missing some people who have cars right now because of that.
Yeah.
Because of the frustrations of them not being able to get the car set up right. And another thing is, I guess you kind of fall into the same thing at Shenandoah because you have, Mike Waltney and them up, at Dominion or whatever. But, there's nobody, around here who you taking it to.
Yeah, well,
If you need help.
we struggled like so many years kind of not knowing what the heck to do, how to set one up. And there's a lot of people that tell you wrong information or wouldn't help you at all, just stuff like that. And that really took a lot of the enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
And we've always kind of strived to do whatever we can to help, people that were in our shoes because it wasn't fun. It's not fun showing up to the racetrack and you're fighting a car and you're frustrated and everything like that. That's what gets people out of racing, at the end of the day. So we always kind of try to do whatever I can. I ain't going to do everything for you, but I'll do whatever I can to help you if you're willing to put in the work too,
Right. Well, I mean, and that's good. But, I like here, I'm hoping that, we can, over time, build this class to where there's some, I don't know what the right terminology is, but there's some big team here, it might be you,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
well.
It might be somebody else, whatever it is, where they create that and they build cars and they work on cars and they set up cars and they come test with people and do those things because I think that's what it's going to take to get the class to that next level of car count.
Well, that's a big hurdle for a lot of people, even whether they're moving up to the Legends or they're just wanting to go start with the Legends
Yeah.
and, no experience. The going into it and not knowing anything is scary.
Yeah.
And, especially you go out there and test and it's like, whoa, this thing is not what I thought it was going to be like. And, what have I got myself into? But having a little bit of safety net, someone like, hey, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? And, and someone to reassure that they're in the right direction or ballpark, or if they need someone to set their car up or go through anything, that helps tremendously, I think. Because like when we were there, it was always nice to have, if there eventually we got Kevin Yates helped us eventually, and he really taught me and my dad everything we know on how to set up and do everything ourselves. And learning that, we like to try to pass that on. That way everybody can hopefully learn to set up their own stuff eventually, but I'll help them out as much as I can starting out.
I mean, you're a great driver, but Phil mentioned it earlier about your dad. I mean, your dad is one of the biggest reasons why you're able to go out there and
100%
be dominant as you are.
Yeah, 100%.
He's super smart. I mean, like talking to him last year,
he knows everything about these cars inside and out, and he loves working on them. Everything about it. Being at the track, like this is like Phil, like me. This is our escape from work, from the everything else. Coming to the racetrack on the weekends, working on the cars, doing all that stuff is what we do to pass the time and relax. Honestly, if I got to come to the racetrack and it's a headache every time, I ain't going to keep racing.
Yeah. I talking to him last year, when I was trying to do tech, which is a job I never want to try to do again. Talking to him though, I was thinking to myself after I was talking to him, this guy's actually too smart to be a competitor. He should be on the other side here. I'm like, man, he knows way too much about everything that involved tech. I mean, and I'll bring this up. I've heard competitors. Chris is illegal. His car's illegal. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I've had him. His rear end's offset. I don't. Is there any truth to that?
Well, I'm assuming the rear end thing was true on them because they were saying something about my rear end last race. Because
there's been multiples.
I broke the shock mount or whatever in practice, but no, we run everything legal by the book. Because there's no enjoyment if you're going to go out there and just have an advantage and win, whatever, easy peasy. But the fun part about the Legends, that rule book we have is like my dad's words. That is our Bible. That is like what we go by. That is cut dry to the point, and everything you can do is within that book. It's a clear print,
right?
And so that the competitiveness of that creates, everybody's doing every little detail that you can possibly think of and imagine to get that extra little bit out of their car.
Yeah.
And we do everything we possibly can to make sure that car is the best car that we can possibly bring to the track, and never have to sweat when I go through tech because everything's good and don't have to worry about it.
Right.
And you can ask any of the people that I've raced with over the past 14 years. Usually they say the exact opposite. We don't have to worry about them. I don't like have to say that, but I've never had issues. Like we've had an alternator failure back when we were running 1250s, or we've had just dumb stuff or bent shock or something like. But I've never been just like, oh, yep, they're outright cheating or something like that. Or fuel. One time we got gas station fuel and didn't have the pump track fuel, and they said it was different. Minor stuff like that happens.
Yeah. I got you. Noah, did you notice one of the things that he said right there a minute ago?
Yeah, which one?
About not having an advantage and going out there and winning, like your lower control arm last year. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that didn't sound right to me.
Oh, it didn't sound right to me.
I don't think I've ever heard any racer ever say that in my life.
I've always heard if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I mean, I don't know.
I just want to say, and you might honestly be the one person that's different. I would rather win every single race by a mile than beat and bang for like second and third place.
I'll beat and bang for like middle of the pack. I've been there for a long time, and that's fun to me. That's stock 4. I don't care if I won a race ever. Beating and banging with it could be for last place. Yeah. I'm having the time of my life.
Yeah. So not everybody has to cheat. I'm just saying.
I still don't believe them. I ain't even gonna lie.
Well, I will. Okay, I will say. There are gray areas, which everybody, uses the best of to their abilities.
Can you tell us about those gray areas?
Specifically.
Not at this time.
When he retires from Legends, he'll tell us all about it. Phil, you know any of the gray areas? Or you just leave that to them?
I better just leave it there.
He just pushes the broom at the shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I just do that. Yeah.
I got you.
And catch shit for doing it. So
Either one of you guys have any aspirations of doing anything else? I mean, I know you've been getting in some other cars, Chris, but do you have aspirations of moving up divisions, or do you really just enjoy what you're doing?
I enjoy what I'm doing. I've always kind of had that mentality. You know, I have people that are on the outside looking in, and I'm like, why don't you move up to NASCAR or late model and everything? I'm like, you don't realize how much money that takes to run that stuff. I'm just some hick from, over the mountain. I'm the small team. We don't have that backing. And even at the end of the day, if I did have that money, I don't know that I want to do that. I like running the Legends, and I mean, when you get into those higher levels of racing, tempers flare. I mean, then you're fighting for money. You're fighting for all kinds of other things that are, I think, for the wrong reasons to be into racing. I've raced with a lot of guys that moved up that are. When I was watching NASCAR, ARCA race, stuff like that. I've raced with a bunch of them guys back when they were in Legends, but I'm going to continue to run Legends as long as I can, as long as I'm having fun doing it.
How about you, Phil?
I'm a car guy, so it's hard to tell with me. This is fun. You know what? Me and Danny are neighbors, and we cut up all the time, and it is just fun. Honestly, in the drag racing scene, it just become a lot of money, a lot of fighting. It's just, and no competitors are helping each other at that level.
Right.
I mean, it's strictly for blood. But this is, some people say it ain't cost friendly, but it really is in the motorsports part of it. Like what we're doing right now is budget friendly for at least me. Maybe not for some people, but it is just fun, budget friendly racing. That's about all I can say about that.
Talking about the budget, for a Legends car, what does it take to get into Legends? What does it take to race on a weekly basis? The cost? Explain that to either one of y'all. Explain.
I'll say there's such a wide variety on the market for cars since there's still
everybody wants to
cars.
run up front, so let's start there.
Okay, yeah. If you can get a 1250 car, which is an older car. They're carbureted, air cooled. You're not going to win races with it, but you can have some fun with it.
Right.
You can buy them things for sub 10,000 or 8,000, whatever. But bottom of the barrel, some of the F09 cars, which is what I have. You can find them a good deals 12, 13. And they go up from there. I think a brand new car is around 20. Which they have the MT motors now, which they have their good and bad, I guess, because I've noticed with racing with a bunch of the people that have MT motors, they pull all the way up to red line versus the FZ motors don't quite pull all the way up to red line. They kind of stall out a little bit. So end of the straightaway, you might get, if you have a brand new MT motor, you might get a little extra oomph.
So bigger tracks, probably MT.
Yeah, like at Dominion, when I was there, I had to meet another guy. Back and forth. I can make up everything through the corner and kind of start the nose underneath. But the time we got to the end of the straightaway, he just pulled half a car length, and I'd lose it all. I'd lose it all back, and that's a little frustrating. But at the end of the day, is what it is.
So let's say I go buy me a car, I spend $25,000. What's it going to cost me to race every week?
We don't tear anything up. You're just buying fuel and tires. We're getting about 8 races. I mean, you can get more races out of it. I'm running last set of tires. I've run 8 races on.
Yeah.
And they still got life in them, but if I'm gonna be competitive to try to keep winning, I gotta get a new set. So you can get good life out of the tires, and that's averaging 8 races. It's about $600 some for a set of tires. I mean, you're under $100 a night. On tires, you spend 5 gallons of gas is all we run in the car. Mm-hmm. Your ticket to get in, and if you do any light beating and banging, bumpers are $30. So say you bend up a front and rear bumper, there's $60. Or you can straighten them out and fix them. They sell tabs, you can fix your own bumpers.
Right.
So it really isn't bad. Unless you really get into tearing up stuff.
Yeah.
But regular racing, knock on wood, I haven't had any bad incidents in a long time. So.
Yeah.
hope to keep it that way. But it hasn't really cost a whole lot.
Right.
Sounds like you spend less money on your Knights Legend car than I've spent on our piece of junk Ford.
We spent more money in fuel driving down here.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, though, is you don't spend near as much on that stock 4, but you spend more money every week to race it, where you spend more money on the car for the Legends car and less money to actually race it every week.
I was buying about a tire, which this year I'm not sure with the weight and all that, and I haven't been racing, but I was buying a tire every week, and you can get a right front for, it depends who you know, what kind of deals you can get, but 50, 70, 80 bucks, somewhere in there.
But not them 200 treadwear ones you were buying, though.
Who said that?
I'm just saying.
Lord, we're getting more cheating accusations. Them things was like some Douglas All Seasons from Walmart.
That's what they said on the side of them, but,
Look, if you can find a guy that knows how to press custom things on them, let me know.
Oh, man, I know a guy.
What's his name?
Nah,
where's he at?
We're not going to talk about that on here.
Okay.
I don't need any more of that here than I already have, okay?
Yeah, I've been looking for a while now.
You don't race anymore, so you're not looking for anything.
It don't matter. I'm still a car owner.
Yeah. Speaking of being a car owner, is your car going to be here racing this weekend?
I don't know. We got to talk to Daddy Timmy and see what kind of schedule he's got Chad on. I already know minimum every other weekend he's on call, so he can't race.
Yeah.
So we're already narrowed down there. I think he's actually working this weekend, so I don't know if he will or not.
I want to say when I seen him Sunday, I want to say he told me he was going to be here, but I really don't know. I really don't remember. I don't know.
It's kind of hard to answer tow calls when you're, going about 75. Got West beating you back bumper off.
I've had to wait on a tow truck before. They can wait. Just have him call, and after he gets done racing, he can go pick him up. It ain't no big deal.
That'd be hilarious. Maybe we should get him a little Bluetooth.
Yeah.
He can answer mid-race.
Yeah, 100%.
Hello! It's going to be a while.
Yeah, I'm on my way. Just tell him you're on your way and move on. It's all good. I do this podcast not just for people to listen to and for fans and for racers and, to have information, but I do it for my own information. And I got a really good question for you. Everybody, we were racing last year. We averaged, 7 cars probably. Everybody said, man, you get INX sanctioning, and you're going to have the cars. Well, that ain't true. I knew that wasn't true. I knew that 100% that wasn't true. So we're here. We got INX sanctioning. We don't have the cars. We actually, we're probably averaging the same. We're close to it. What does it take to draw these legend guys?
Well, I think a little bit, which we talked about earlier, I think on a race day, was we got a lot of races here this year. And I think beginning of the year, you usually draw people out of the woodwork, and end of the year. Because beginning of the year, a lot of people that travel with Legends, they're running for national points. So if their home track isn't opened up and they could come here, they'll come here. And the same at the end of the year, they're trying to get extra points. Their tracks, their track's not racing or already done for the year, they'll come here.
Right.
The summertime, for whatever reason, always is people are out on vacation. They're running their local track that they're dedicated to. They're at the shootout. They're doing everything else. Summer months are always going to be mostly misses.
So you're saying we should race at the beginning of the year and the end of the year?
I would do a pile of races at the beginning of the year and pile of races at the end of the year and maybe a handful in the middle is personally what I would do. And, some of the teams and stuff have it on their schedules. If it's an odd day, especially like if it's a Thursday or Friday race or Sunday race, that most tracks aren't racing, you'll pull in people from elsewhere.
You say that. We just had a Friday and a Monday.
Yeah. It was Memorial Day weekend, but still. I was expecting more on Monday, but I was
expecting more on Friday. I'll be honest with you. I was thinking, because last year, I caught a lot of flack for not running the Legends cars with the modifieds because there were people with the modifieds that had cars. So I was like, okay, well, that's a no-brainer. I'll add them for this year. Well, nobody showed up.
And a lot, too, I think we could get more pull from, the Langley guys don't really travel anywhere besides Langley.
No.
They are scared of leaving Langley. But I think we could get some people, from Dominion or from, down in the Carolinas and stuff. But I know with Dominion having nationals, a lot of people have made that priority. You know, I've been trying to hit races there that, you know, as much as I can this year.
Yeah.
Just to get some practice. I still ain't sure if I'm going to go to the Nationals or not, but I don't know that I want
to get an MT motor to go to the Nationals.
I mean, I should if I want to win, or do good. But you know, I'll do the best I can with what I got. The last time when we had Nationals there, it was a pretty much disaster. Pretty much, we had a great race. I think I was running like second or third, and the best I've ever done in a main event. But we just had red flag after red flag after red flag. I was in that car for 2 hours. Longest race I've ever been in.
Yeah.
I ended up running out of gas. I was so pissed. Along with probably 5 other people ran out of gas. And Mike that won it, he went to do his victory burnouts. He ran out of gas. But, you know, I'm like, just call the next flag ends the race. Just call it. I couldn't feel my butt. I mean, I was miserable. I'm hoping that this year is not a repeat. And if it is, I at least know I'm going to cut my car off and let it coast on the caution and everything else.
Save a little fuel there.
Yeah, or come in for a pit stop. You know, if I can be prepared for it, I'll do a pit stop.
Sure. How many laps is that race? Do you know?
I think they're usually 30 or 35 laps. I think they're 35.
You think we race too many laps here?
I like running laps.
I know
Most
you do.
people do
I know
not
you
agree
do.
with me. I'll run 60 laps around it.
But
I don't
for
care.
the Legends crowd, do you think we run too many laps? You already said we run too many races. Do we run too many laps?
With the Legends?
Yep.
Well, like,
For
what's
the
the normal?
Legends guys, our normal races, either 30 laps or
30
twin 20s.
Or twin 20s is nice. I don't think 30 laps is too much for a regular race. I mean, most people do 25, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's not a big difference.
Yep.
40. I mean, I get people complaining about the 40 laps, but
Yeah.
I think they're a bunch of sissies.
Yeah,
You know,
that's me.
because
Did you fall out of the seat, Phil?
well,
This old guy struggling at 40. I'll tell you that.
well, that to me is a great part of why I enjoy long races because setup goes out the freaking window.
Right.
At the end, especially it's green flag. At the end of that race, you know, it's how you're managing yourself, your equipment, and who is going to drive the wheels off that thing to the very end.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people can have a really great car and have a short run car, and they're great for 10 laps, 15 laps, whatever, you know. But when they actually have to continue driving it, they fall out of the seat. And that separates, you know, driver from the car.
Shenandoah, they get 10, 15, Legends. Those mostly local guys.
For the most part, yeah, we got 2 new local people that just got into Legends this year, and we've been helping them out. And hopefully, when they get more comfortable, we'll get them. They want to come down here. They came down 2 races ago and watched and loved everything down here.
Yeah.
So when they get more acclimated to the cars and stuff, I think they'll be coming down here. But yeah, most of that crowd's the same bunch. Brad that's down here, he comes up. Mike McMall, a few other people.
We can get Mike to show up. He comes to the races. He just doesn't bring his car.
Listen, Mike is the nicest guy on earth, but he has had a string of bad luck. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for him, but we try to do help him out as much as we can, I guess.
He's a good dude.
He
every time
really
I see him
is.
here, I'm like, dude, where's your car?
Yeah,
man?
no, and the one day he had a bunch of stuff had happened, and I think someone with race car, someone with truck, and he was talking about taking his car out here for the spectator drags, and I'm like, no, don't do that, because the way things have been going, you don't need to be fixing your car.
Oh, they're safe. Spectator drags are safe.
I don't know.
I mean, we haven't wrecked any this year. Knock on wood.
Yep.
Now, I have seen, you guys have not here in your time coming here, but in my time over the last 40 years, I've seen some stuff here. Okay, those spectator drags can get real interesting. This one boy, he was about 18 years old. His dad had just co-signed a loan for him. I believe it was either a Mustang or Camaro. I'm old. I can't remember. But he come around. He won the race, but he spun around and hit the inside wall and destroyed that thing. And then here come his mom out of the grandstands. I mean, it was great. It's great entertainment, man. Another time, this work truck, I'm sure the guy wasn't supposed to be out there with it. He flipped it over here in the corner. We found tools for like 6 months.
I'm surprised it wasn't a free-for-all, people running over to grab tools.
Listen, I'm sure they did. But, I mean, we literally found tools in the grass down there for at least 6 months. I mean, it was crazy. was stuff everywhere. But those drags get interesting. That one the other night, Trey spinning out. Trey Cooper, one of our officials, spinning out in front of the
spinning out a front wheel drive. I'm never
Yeah.
going to let them live that one down.
Yeah.
So I did some back at Shenandoah when they were doing them years ago, and I had a little Nissan Sentra, and I unbolted the wheels, and it's the same lug pattern as the Legends car. So I bolted my Legend car tires onto it,
Yeah.
and it didn't have no horsepower, no nothing. It had 200,000 miles on it, and pretty sure head gasket was bad.
Yeah.
And couldn't get down the straightaway, but I could go flat out through the corners.
Yeah.
And I was racing. It was a Mustang. It was a guy in a newer Mustang, and they gave me a little head start because obviously he's got horsepower. He should easily be able to beat me. And he beat me the first go around, and we go to the second go around. They give me a little more head start, and we come off too. And I'm looking in my mirror, and I can see he's romping on it, trying to catch up to me, and I see him get away from him. And I think all he did was tag the wall with the rear bumper, but he about junked the car that night. I looked in my mirror and just seen the completely broadside behind me. I was laughing.
The only time I've ever ran in spectator drags, I was running Ona Speedway in Ona, West Virginia. It's a half-mile flat, completely flat asphalt track, the only asphalt track in West Virginia. And I was running it in 2004. And this one guy in this Corvette, he just kept winning every race. He raced in the Legends car division there. I can't remember his name. But he won every week. So the crowd, and we had really good crowds, and the crowd was chanting, race the pace car, well, I wasn't going to let it. That was my daily driver, okay? The pace car I had, it was a Dodge Intrepid, whatever year it was. Anyway, so I told the guy, I said, hey, man, do me a favor, make this look good. I know you're going to win, but make this look good. He didn't know I had a plan. And so we get going, from standing start. He stays beside of me all the way to turn 3. Well, when we got to turn 3, I drove him as far up the racetrack as I could get to where he had to get on the brakes, and I drove off and won. And I never raced again because I knew I was going to get beat bad the next time. So, but the pace car did not lose, and that was very important. Pace car here wins too.
They wins every once in a while.
It's good to end on a high note, though.
Yeah. Well, listen, I didn't tell him what my plan was, but I had a plan when I told him, hey man, make this look good. I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
The scariest part of the spectator drags is that basically they let me, the announcer, be the race director.
Yeah, that's
for
scary.
the spectator drag, so I get to say what goes. I'm like, you go up there. You can start back there. Let's just do this thing. They keep yelling at me to do them 3 wide, do 3 cars.
Hey, they
3
used
wide.
to. One of the things they used to do here, which I think we should do every time, is they would keep all the cars in the infield after they were done, and at the end they'd have a 5-lap race with how many ever cars ran in the spectator drags. And I mean that got pretty good too, because they'd have to pass one another and everything.
I'd be out there in the biggest clunker I could find, dooring everybody. I'll hand out business cards here. I can fix it for you.
I tried to fix an entertaining, race one time in the spectator drags during one of our nights of destruction, but I hired 2 bozos to do that, and they did not do a very good job.
Look, come on
You
now.
can tell who one of the bozos was right here. Okay?
Bozo number 1 or number 2?
I was number 1. Look, the other guy, Mr. Wesley Givens,
Yeah.
Did
That
not-
was another mistake.
did not follow instructions. I had planned it
Are
out.
you surprised, though? Are we surprised?
I shouldn't have been. But I had planned it all. I thought about it for like 2 days. I came up with a perfect plan. I'm like, we're going to race the first one legit. Then the second one, you're going to do this to me. And then I'm going to do this to you. And then the third one, we're just going to go nuts. First race, green flag. He just doors the hell out of me. And I'm like, well, there goes that plan. And we just beat the hell out of each other for 3 races.
It would have been much better if they'd played it out.
If he had listened to my plan, I had it all planned out. And he just ignored it.
Lesson of the day: if you're going to fix a race, find 2 people smart enough to fix a race.
No, don't put Wes in the car.
I mean,
We all know when Wes gets on the track in a car, it don't matter if it's a minivan or what, he loses his head.
yeah.
He just full engages in race mode.
Sounds like our first school bus race. So we had our first school bus race, and we had Eric Morris and Chet driving 2 of the school buses. I had 3 school buses, and then my brother Josh, he got in the other one. I think Josh won the first race, and they riding around, they making it look good. Well, it was 2 10-lap races. Well, the second race, Josh had done decided he was winning, and so had Chet. So they raced off into turn 3, and Josh spun him around and ended up, I don't know, I think they give the win to Eric. I don't know who actually should have won the race or whatever. But I thought right there I was about to lose my school buses. And, of course, the thing was damaged to the point to where it never ran good again, even though it did win some races after that. But
I do feel like if I do somehow find a way to get in a school bus race, I preferably like to have a short bus if we can make it happen.
Yeah.
That's cheating. That's against the rules.
No,
we'll unplug a couple cylinders.
Timmy was trying to bring a short bus down here to race. And I was like, Timmy, you can't do that. Come on now. It was that honey tree bus.
Yeah.
I think it's still sitting in one of his lots. He was trying to bring it down here. Yeah. I'm like, Timmy, that is a gas V8 with like 3 rows of seat, and that is just a Silverado. That is not a bus.
Worst case, he'll flip it over when it goes down in the corner too hot.
Yeah. Back in the day, they flipped one over here. It was actually a woman driving it. I remember that. Flipped it over here in turns 1 and 2. It took them a while to get that back up. It was entertaining to watch. It was kind of like, I don't know if you've ever watched. I'm sure you have. Maybe. Maybe not. You're here, so maybe not. The Buck Wild TV show.
I wanted to get to that because I think we need to redo that. We need an updated version because I dabble in the videography, okay? And I can film and I'll help out with that, and I'll be a nuisance out there if you want me to be.
The time they hit the gate over here. Have you watched that episode?
I think so, yeah.
That's why I stayed
up all night. I sent it to Phil. I said, Phil, you won't believe what I found, but look at this.
That's why I still, to this day, say, let's get this road on the show.
Oh, God. There's so many good one-liners from that show from back in the day.
I don't think I got any sleep that night. I stayed up all night watching.
It was great entertainment. I wish that was done in 2011, and by then, I mean, like every track that's not named South Boston or Hickory or whatever, that has great roots and has had great car counts over the years, and the NASCAR thing, they were struggling, so. They introduced that in 2011. Well, they made one key mistake, in my opinion, in the beginning. They decided they were doing the show. Well, they were recording the first episode on Saturday, and the next Sunday they had to have the episode, on TV because they'd already bought the TV time. Had they not done that, had they filmed a few races and then done that, I think they could have made it so much better because then they had to try to... I mean, I'm sure you've seen some of the
They're trying to fill in all the gaps pretty much.
Like that idiotic scene with that lady racing, and they were calling out some... Oh, my God, man.
I think it needs to make a comeback. At least have like people pay per view that.
Listen, a guy I know literally sent me a logo. It says Buck Wild 2. He's like, man, we need to do this. I'm like, oh Lord Jesus, it would be great.
I fully support it.
The problem is
too.
where they had to get they had to go off the rails with some of the stuff, and it got scripted at times. It gave the track a really bad reputation that we still have to try to overcome today. So I think we'd have to call it something else, not Buck Wild. If somebody suggested Buck Wilder.
Okay, we'll meet in the middle, and we'll have like 1 or 2 races a year that are Buck Wild races, where everybody's all kinds of crazy. And
you gonna wear the antlers?
I'll wear whatever you want.
I'll wear whatever.
Speaking of wearing stuff, I gotta know. What is the budget on the costumes this year?
He's buying his own, and
it's been pretty good so far. I mean, we've been.
Look, I've been bragging to people about I'm making money this year because I ain't racing. I'm still in the negative. I'm in the negative on the costume budget.
Hey, the great thing is if he forgets to ask me for money on race night, we're done with that race. Okay.
I've only accepted payment twice. Because I forget most of the time, and I'm like, let's go to Waffle House.
Yeah, I'm always like, hey, here, have another Bud Light, bud.
So is the Wrestlers coming back?
Yeah, they'll be here June 29th.
It's going to be
good. Is Nathan going to be here?
Yeah.
We've already discussed that Nathan can be nowhere near the wrestling ring, okay? Because those guys are going to kill him, okay? If they would have got their hands on him that night, we'd have had a real problem here.
I seen everybody running up there. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, somebody jumped in the ring. I'm like, You gotta be kidding me.
Oh, well, you know, the bad thing about it was that was the weekend we had the big money race or whatever, and Nathan had just got his cars. And, you know, up until that point, we had been allowing sportsmen's and whatever tire we didn't really care what tire you run Legends at that point because tires were really hard to come by. They still are kind of hard to come by. But they were really hard to come by at that point. But when I had put the thing out, you know, I'd put, you know, INX rules. So, of course, you can't run those. Well, I'd done told Nathan he could, so he went and bought new tires, both of his cars. Spent about $1,500 on them, $1,600, whatever it was. And, you know, so he had a lot of pent-up energy by the time he got up there to that wrestling ring.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was mad at me, mad about the whole situation and, you know, the argument with that other team or whatever. And, man, and he told me on pit road, I'm sitting on my golf cart down there, I'm talking, and he walks up and he goes, I'm going up here to get in this wrestling ring. I said, yeah, whatever, Nathan. A few minutes later, they're calling, hey, we need you up here at the wrestling ring. You got to get up here.
I seen everybody running.
I'm like, oh, my God. I knew instantly when they said that they needed me up there what was going on.
So next time he tells you something, you're going to...
Oh, yeah, I'm not...
You going to second guess it?
No, I'm going to go ahead and say no.
He's going to have a security team around him.
Do not
when
do
the,
that.
wrestlers
All right,
are-
Phil, somebody's got to do it this year.
Danny?
Yeah.
I vote your dad.
I could see him doing that. Yeah,
I
we get him
could.
riled up enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's plan it out with them. They said, man, that would have been great if it would have been planned out. You know what I mean? And we would have, you know, choreographed it ahead of time to where we knew what was going on and all that.
No, that takes all the fun out of it.
Well, Lord, it was something. I mean, that's honestly, I think that's why they hadn't been back. Man, these rednecks are serious up here.
My favorite part was after that happened, they went back to like their regular. It was ruined by that.
Oh, it was done.
Like,
yeah.
y'all just
Yeah.
call it. Just be like, that was our main event. Thanks for coming out. Y'all can't go back to just regular matches after that.
Lord, and that one boy got smacked right in the mouth at the top of the grandstands. You know, the wrestlers are all mad and fans moving around. And it's just one boy giving to run in his mouth. I'd tell you what he said, but it's not, you know, good for here. And he paid for that one. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. That dude smacked him so hard. I mean, Lord, it knocked the taste out of my mouth, and I was just watching it, okay? I mean, I'm like, holy crap, man.
I'll say it was great entertainment.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
I mean, the short time I've been coming here, we've made a lot of memories. Okay.
Listen, you never know what you might see here, Dan.
Modified race.
Yeah, the modified race was pretty fun. Oh, we're standing there like everybody's crowded around like, yeah, they were just fighting earlier, missed all that. Oh, no, here they go again. Everybody runs right back on in.
Lord, it's something.
They did a standard 5 rounds UFC with gaps, intermissions. They were shouting sponsors out. In
Got no
between.
clear winners, okay?
Yeah, it was a split decision.
There was a couple clear losers, but there were no clear winners.
Yeah, that is true.
One of the losers in that deal might have had the last name Hinchee. I'm just saying.
Look, he went
It
back.
wasn't Noah.
He went back for round 6.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've never seen anybody thrown that far. Okay.
Well, he weighs like 140 pounds.
I understand. Listen, when I'm standing there and I just see out of the corner of my eye something flying, I thought it was something. I looked up and it was a person. I'm like, holy crap!
They threw a T-shirt, but it had a guy in it.
I'm telling you, man. I was like, what in the world just happened here? It's you never know what you might see here, man. And I guess that's the main reason I think fans come here.
Oh, 100%.
You just never know. We had a great crowd that night, so they got a lot of good entertainment. And
Yeah, I think they would like to come across the fence and join in.
oh well,
We've heard
We've had
some of
that
them
almost
hollering
happen.
at us, like, you know, down there. Or I think when they were fighting down there too, you know, people will be up at the fence and they'll be saying all kinds of stuff.
that has almost happened here many times. It actually has happened here once that I know of. 1990. Gosh, God, I'm old. It was 94, 90, yeah, probably 93, 94, somewhere in that neighborhood. Kenny Minner, who the race is named after for the modified race, him and Dickie Wilson, who was another late model competitor here, they had a terrible rivalry going. And, I mean, it spilled out into the grandstands many nights. Their fans up there just beating the crap out of one another, you know. And
That's
on this
commitment.
particular night, they wrecked about where it says Thunder at FC Speedway over there. And there were a lot of bodies coming over the fence to join the fight. I was going to the beach. I missed all of it. I hate that. My son Junior, he finds his way to every fight that happens here. Okay, every time, and I'm like, man, where were you when the fight? Oh, I was standing there watching. I was having to move out of the way. I'm like, dude, get the hell out of there. Don't be around that.
I will say, after that Smart Mod race or the crate mod,
yeah,
my nephew,
it wasn't Smart Mods.
My nephew may have gotten grounded because he may have threw a kick or two on some random person. And I'm like, dude, you were 12 years old. Go to your room.
Idiot.
He got in trouble for that one.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, for sure.
Now, just imagine if we had all these stories televised, and we could go back and.
I mean, listen, all of that was pretty well televised.
That one was.
That one got a lot of exposure there that night.
A lot more than probably wanted.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Hey, there's no bad publicity.
Yeah, well.
You say that, but I've seen otherwise. Okay, one time.
Well, you just got to stick. You can't deny it. Is the only thing you got to own it 100%.
I believe it was 2021. It's just a random week, nothing going on. We're getting ready to race, and I get a call, and it's this lady. She's just cussing me. I don't know what the heck's going on. One of the people who raced here had apparently called her some derogatory terms. They were going to have, I don't even know. Black Lives Matter was coming for the next race. I'm like, I literally, that's the first time that was bad publicity.
Hey, as long as they all buy a ticket.
That's what I said too. But because I told the sheriff that when I called them, I should call the sheriff's office because I was like, I need to prepare ahead of time for this, just in case this is for real, okay? They didn't end up showing up. But I called the sheriff's office, and he told me, he said, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to sell them all a ticket, and then you're going to have to sort it out. And they were like, well, okay. And that's what was going to happen. So... we've had some interesting things, but that's probably not exactly the publicity that you want. And then one time, Whitey, when he was running the racetrack,
I know this one.
I believe it was 2018. You remember you had all those things going on with the Confederate flag. They banned it in NASCAR and all this other stuff. Well, he decided he had already started off the year interesting, okay? And, listen, for the most part, any publicity is good publicity, okay?
This is my favorite one. One.
So, right as that's happening with NASCAR or whatever, he decides he's going to have a promotion of, come join us this Saturday night and burn your Confederate flags. Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you. The crowd here is not the burn your Confederate flag crowd, okay?
You don't say.
It was going to get bad, okay? I'm not going to say it was white supremacist, but it might have been that was going to be here to handle all of that.
There's a bunch of ghosts out in the crowd.
Yeah, it was going to. Well, let me tell you, and this is another story that isn't the greatest, but I mean it's worth telling because it had happened a long time ago. We had a Halloween race. This is after I took over. I want to say it was 2016. We had a Halloween race, and I look up, and there's a KKK member walking around. I'm like, I have to go to Kim. Kim, what is it? What's that costume? She goes, oh my God. And I'm like, holy crap, what is going on? So I had to go tell the guy to get the thing off, obviously. But
well, I mean, as long as you don't have a point at the top, you're a regular ghost.
Well, the worst part was he was out here. He was out here talking to these black people that was in the crowd. I was so confused. And they were having a civil conversation. They were laughing and joking with one another, okay? I was so confused. But the things that happen around here, you can't. That's why the Buck Wild went.
You can't predict
off the rails
that happens here
because they tried to script it too much as it went along because of their production. But I'm telling you, a reality show about this place would probably be so popular that it would get picked up on national TV.
We got to call TLC.
I'll say it's got the natural energy and atmosphere.
Oh, it does.
The stuff just happens.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. I tell people this all the time. When you come up over that hill right there, when you crest the hill and get up to the gate right there, I'm pretty sure like something sucks the intelligence out of people. Because I mean, the stupid things that you see here, I have several racers to tell me this. That they say, "Man, I go race other places, and I'm just calm as can be. I get up here and I just go stupid." And I'm like, "It's the energy here. There's something about this place. I don't know what it is, but it's entertaining."
It's got to be like on an old ancient burial ground or something.
Well, actually.
Oh, Lord. That's what it is.
The track,
found an arrowhead out there earlier.
The track isn't, but on the hill there is.
That's what it is. They're pissed off.
All right, I'm gonna bring the Ouija board.
Apparently they
next
don't like
race.
racing. I don't know. Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, let me know.
I'm afraid of what'll come out of that. Okay. I don't know, man. This place is definitely entertaining, and everybody who comes here from somewhere else, they go, "Man, I ain't never seen anything like this." You know, there's only a few of y'all that stay though.
Yeah.
Most people come here once and they go, I'm glad I made a trip up. But I don't know. Noah, you got anything else for us today?
I got one question for you, Chris. What's with the sticker on the back of your car, man?
Oh, it's hilarious.
I've gotten so many questions.
Okay. For those of you that don't know, there's a half-naked anime girl on the back of my car. Okay? And I think it's hilarious, but I didn't go far enough with it. You know, my objective was to get a letter from U.S. Legend Cars saying, hey, this is bad for the motorsport and we need you to take it off, because I want to frame that on my wall.
Sure.
And I
sent
clearly
you that?
haven't, either I haven't traveled enough with it, or, it's not as a big
You
of a
may get that
problem.
at the National.
Yeah, I have I have my other cars, what I run at Dominion.
Yeah.
It's my orange car that I've always had.
Yeah.
So I think I need to come up with something spectacular for that car, so I can get a talking to.
You know, speaking of you having...
I've got a lot of mixed looks on that sticker, by the way. We had the meet and greet. I get a lot of mixed looks.
I'm sure you-
little kids go up there and I feel bad. They're like, Mommy, what's that? I'm like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, my daughter, she goes, did you know that Chris Lilly has a naked girl
Hey,
on the back of the car?
Did you see I put the winter stickers on her butt cheeks, though?
Yes, I did.
We were contemplating. We're
Perfect
looking around.
placement.
We walked
Perfect
around the
placement.
car and we're like, where are we going to put these? And we walked to the back and we're like, we don't even need to finish the conversation. We know where it's going.
But, not to change the subject from that, because that is hilarious and it's very unique, and people catch that all the time. I have people talk to me about
And it's
that.
also nice that whoever's behind me gets distracted, and I think that's why Ethan had an issue, passing me. He get right to my bumper. He gets right to my bumper, and then he quits thinking about racing, and it's like, he's a young kid, he's a young boy.
Yeah.
He gets distracted real easy, and I think that's what's been working in my favor. Because when he's ahead of me, he can get out and go, but when he's behind me, he has a little more trouble.
Speaking of your two cars, though, okay, you'll enjoy this one. Somebody told me, said, well, he only runs his cheated up car here in Shenandoah. He doesn't take it to Dominion. I was like, all right, sure, we'll go with that.
I can change the setups and bring the orange one here and the other one there. Once we got two cars, it was changing gear and setup and everything
It makes
was
sense. If you're
is
using
a
the
hassle.
same thing at Shenandoah,
Yeah,
it makes
because like
sense.
back in the day, we'd do Southside Friday nights, change the gear either that night or in the morning when we got home, and run, Dominion or Shenandoah or wherever else,
Sure.
and it's a little hassle changing everything. Which, like I said, I could probably get by changing some of the setup here, but between Shenandoah and here, and be faster. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it works. So the less stuff we have to actually change
I'd
on the
prefer
car.
you just keep it the way it is. I don't need you.
I don't want to have to
at the
rescale
moment.
it out every week,
Yeah, I don't need
Yeah.
you any faster at the moment, so we'll just keep it that
But I
way.
think, people are going to say all kinds of stuff. I'm
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Listen, I found that one hilarious when they told me that, because I'm standing there. I'm like, do they really believe this?
We had a discussion too about the fact that it's a pink and purple car,
Yeah.
which is when I was younger, obviously I'm like, I'm never going to drive a pink and purple car, blah 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 blah. And I had this discussion with Phil. You can drive a pink and purple car and be a guy, but you got to do good in it. If
Oh, yeah,
you're
you
running
gotta
in the back and you're running the pink and purple car, then it might be a problem. Then I might poke fun at you.
I mean, we've had, 3 different winners this year? Two of them have been in purple cars. Purple on their car, I should say.
Yeah.
Ethan's got purple numbers, so.
I'm a big fan of purple. If Jaden wasn't running purple, well, he hasn't been lately,
Yeah,
but
he's not now.
if he hadn't been running it, I wanted to paint my car purple.
Yeah.
So as long as it's not white or black like every other race
like
car,
every-
I don't care. I like colors.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I remember a time when I was doing Race 22 and we'd go to Martinsville, and we would always, the running joke was, how many cars is going to be just black and white? Is there going to be any colors here this year? And sometimes there was not. They were all black and white and maybe one red. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You
And
know,
all
two
had the
reds.
same neon stickers.
Oh, my God, yeah.
I like. I've always kind of stayed true to trying to be a little unique. You can look at my car and be like, yeah, I know whose car that is.
Oh, 100%. 100%. For sure. I don't know how many places you've run outside of Shenandoah and here, Phil, but I'll ask both of you, and I'll go with you first, Phil. What's your favorite racetrack to race on? And why?
Well, obviously Shenandoah is a little more forgiving, but I tell you, the action here is pretty unmatched. I did run Dominion a couple weeks ago, and it was an eye-opening experience.
That place is fast.
It's fast.
It's
and
like Talladega for us.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, those kids up front, I mean, they push it. But atmosphere, I'd have to say here is like, it's pretty unmatched. It's really fun down here, and I don't know. You really don't tear up too much here unless you do something stupid too, and obviously that's what you're trying not to do is buy parts.
100%. 100%.
So, but it's fun. It's like I mean, it's fun for us, for sure. We come down here and it's just a bunch of guys cutting up and having a good time.
Yeah. Chris, you've been to more places. I mean, I know Southside's a really cool track too.
I would say, I'm indecisive when it comes to that. Like what Phil said, like the atmosphere, I really miss the Southside days. Going there on Friday nights and it'd be packed, and we always had great racing in all the divisions they had there. I mean, there was never a dull moment on a Friday night there. And I really hope they get that place back rolling again, and we can be back there eventually. And Shenandoah is always. That's a piece of me. That's
It's the home track, man.
And it's a great track to run at. Like
It is.
It has all the potential to be
We've talked about
so
it.
great.
Yeah.
Like it has you can race 3 wide all the way around that track. I mean, it has everything going for it to be so much. It could be the best track in multiple states. And I'll keep racing there until the last day that they close the gates.
Well, I hope they don't close the gates.
I hope they don't either. I'm doing everything in my power to keep that from happening, but
I know Jeff's got an uphill battle there. I mean, I guess he's overcome most of the hurdles with the town or the county or whatever it is. But geographically, they're as geographically challenged as we are. They just don't have 56 years of history, drawing people back in.
Yeah, well, and the biggest thing is like, I don't know that it didn't have it to start with, but it doesn't have the community and the local people behind it as it should.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to build.
Yeah.
From scratch. So, and that's without that, it's not going in a great direction. But I've been trying. We've got a lot of people into Legends because that's what we know. So we've been building the Legend class up pretty good, but everything else has kind of just been hit and miss.
I mean, I don't even know if you know this, but I promoted a couple of races there in 2017. The free race, the first one they ever had.
The free race one, it was packed that night. That was the one they
100%.
advertised. I'm like, we need to do more of that.
Listen, let me tell you something.
It's nice to race in front of a bunch of people.
Timmy Tyrell, Minnie's dad, got me involved, and I had just left here. Argument with my dad, which happens all the time. But I just left here, so I took and I told him, I said, man, you got no crowd whatsoever. You got to do something dramatic. You know what I mean? Well, what do we need to do? Well, let's do a free race. Oh, no, we can't do that. I said, well, let's do it. What's the word? You ain't making no money now? Let's try it. And I told Jeff, and I'm sure he's not going to mind me saying this, but I told Jeff, I said, man, you need to prepare for about 2,500 people, okay, in your concession stand. I said, you better have enough food because that's the only way you're going to make money. Well, I think we had 2512 is what we ended up with. Well, he had prepared for like 600. They were out of food pretty much before the race ever started, which big miss, on their part there. But that could have been a great catalyst to building a crowd.
100%.
Because, I mean, the next race had a decent crowd, had way better crowd. Because I think I did like 3 races with them, and then I got tired of there was too many people involved.
Yeah, too many hands in the basket. But honestly, I thought if they did that once a year, just once a year, do a free night, advertise, promote the heck out of it, and make that a yearly thing, you know, and if you're prepared, like you say with the concessions,
Yes.
the amount you sell in the concessions is more than you're going to get if nobody, you know, a handful of people showed up.
I personally believe that night, and you know, Jeff may disagree. I personally believe that night he made more money.
I've heard the same. I heard the same thing.
Than he made at any other race or maybe the entire season. And concessions is a hard game. I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
But when you get that opportunity, when people get in for free, well, they're gonna go spend way more money at the concession stand, and that's what I tried to get into their heads before we got to that event, because we planned that out for 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, you know, and really, you know, pushed it that year. Man, the place has tremendous potential. That free race showed that people will come to a race. Yes, you're going to 50% of them people are never coming back unless it's free again. But
I would love to see, like, if the Legends got like a national event or a big event there, that place would be, I mean, it'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, the potential, you've talked about it, the potential's there. I mean,
because I've thought about
seen
trying to maybe lease the track and do like a big Legend band, you know, doing something else, which I leased it at the beginning of the year and did a food truck festival and car show and stuff like that, and I might do that again next year. It was a success. You know, I'd say, you know, I'm not out to make any money. Maybe lost a little bit of money, but or time. But it was a learning process, learning legalities, getting everything set up, and then dealing with all the people. But the car show had just over 100 cars show up.
Yeah,
he did a race that evening. We had good car counts with the racing, and all the vendors left happy. They all made good money, and you know, my only goal was that everybody left happy. I don't care if I lost a little bit of money or whatever. You know. Everybody left happy, and I know now what to do if I want to do it again next year.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, place has got a ton of potential, and I'm telling you, I think you're, you know, talking about doing a free race every year. They should be doing a free race every year, but they've got to advertise it like we advertised that first year.
Yeah.
I know the crowd from year 1 to year 2 is dramatically different.
I think he's pretty burnt out on a lot of it.
Is, 100%.
And it takes,
even at that point in time, he was way burnt out.
Yeah. And it takes somebody to step in and really be involved, and I don't know what, you know, I haven't had that talk with them on what direction that all that's going to go, and I don't know that anybody knows what's going to happen to that, but you know, I'd like to see somebody step in and be able to at least promote it, you know. I mean, granted,
running any one of these, promoting any one of these, and I mean, we don't have the best of crowds right now. I mean, we're struggling. Every track is struggling in some form or fashion, but it takes a ton of energy, you know, and if you're burnt out, you ain't got no energy to give.
Well, even that one event that I did with at the food truck festival, I mean, that took 6 months of work doing one event. You know, I mean, promoting anything, you know, on a bi-weekly schedule or weekly schedule, that's a full-time job.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, and I feel stronger about this today than I did. You know, we raced every week last year. I mean, every week we were running some sort of race or Night of Destruction or something, and we absolutely burned the racers out. But my crowds were a little bit better because they didn't have to guess which weeks we were racing. But I think the thing that most racetracks need to do, and I think more are heading in this direction, and it's unfortunate, but I think racing once a month is like the best number, you know, to run. Some months you probably could get away with 2.
Like I said earlier,
4 or 5 weeks to promote.
In the summer months, June, July, even maybe August, maybe, you know, one race a month, because you know it's hotter than heck out. It's 90 degrees. Who wants to sit in the stands and melt? Who wants to be in the pits and melt? People out on vacation, they got kids, they're on summer break, everybody's doing other stuff. Yeah. But in the early part of the year and the end of the year, I think you could race every week. You know, March and April, you could race them every weekend and have pretty good fields.
The downside to what you say, I totally agree with you in theory, but I have found that in these summer months, people come out more, and I don't know why. It is the total opposite of what it should be. Like, when we have a race in October, like, nobody shows up. And when I say nobody, I've lost money every race I've ever had in the month of October at this racetrack.
See, that, like at Shenandoah, that's when we'd always have our best car counts because other tracks quit, and we'd have a pile of cars the last couple of races because people are trying to pick up extra races. Yeah.
But, you know, in order for the track to be successful, you got to get enough fans in there. And for whatever reason, they will not come. If it's a little... race fans are weird, man. If it's a little cool and you ain't running the big race, well, no, we ain't interested.
Yep.
It's weird. It's a double-edged sword. But I will tell you this. You talk about the free race. In Shenandoah. If I had their purses, if I paid their purses, I'd have a free race at least once a year because I could afford it. Making up the purse every night for me here is a little more difficult. If I had their purse, I would 100% do that. I don't know why they don't do that every year. I think every racetrack should do that at least once a year.
I think so, and that to me speaks, them appreciating the fans.
Yes.
And striving to get them, keep them there, and be involved.
And
say, hey,
in people
we
that
think
haven't
about
been
you.
Coming. The biggest thing is you need people to come one time in order to know whether you've got anything worth watching.
Well, and that's how you get people into racing too. You got friends and stuff. Hey, they're having a free night. Let's go out and see what it is, and people get involved. Like, how much is it to get in one of those cars?
Right.
I might be interested. That looks cool. I want to do that.
100%. 100%. All right. Did you guys have anything in mind that I should have asked that I haven't asked? I always try to ask everybody that.
I think we pretty much covered all the bases.
No, you get everything. We cover everything you think of. You got 37P breaks in already, so you got everything.
It was
covered.
2.
37.
This is the longest episode we've done. All right, I held it together.
Actually,
pretty good.
it is one of the longest episodes we've ever done.
I guess some of the guys that come with us was wondering about the barbecue that was up on the hill here when they were doing it, and then they've been asking.
They were here
where's
for the modified
barbecue?"
race,
They
but they
were?
didn't set up with their normal setup, and they were over here in turns 1 and 2. Man, they had great food, great people, great food. Same thing I've found with every food truck that I've ever dealt with. They are the most unreliable people in the history of existence. Food truck people, for whatever reason, are just not reliable, and that's why they're not here.
I'll say when I was doing my event thing, I had trying to get people planned, and I had a handful. They're like, "Oh, last minute, we can't make it." And I had a person they had I was in contact with the health department and stuff to go through all those hoops.
Yep.
And they had just approved my events on Saturday. They just approved the person on Friday because the taco truck that I had couldn't make it.
Yeah.
And they just approved all their stuff good to go on Friday. And she's like, "Well, they can fill that spot." And I'm like, Please send them my way. And I, was able to last minute get somebody on board. But yeah, you've been there.
So you've experienced the food truck fiasco. Yeah, those people have great food though. I wish I could have them here all the time because they have amazing food. Our concessions are what they are. We have good food. We can't do but so much because I can't find any employees. And yeah, that's a whole nother avenue. We'll get into politics if we get into that, and we ain't got time for all that. So
it's gonna be a real long episode.
Yeah, for real. I guess. Hopefully, you guys planning on racing this weekend.
I don't think I will. I don't know if Phil's gonna come down with my dad or not. But this month, next 2 weekends, I think I'm gonna be trying to get out and do a few other things and take a little break.
I understand.
I've did a lot of racing this year so far. So
any double events down here this year, like double days? I know we did that last year.
Saturday, Sunday events. I think we got to look on the schedule.
Not back-to-back days. We got supposed to have Thursday, July 4th, and Saturday, July 6th. Yeah. I wish that was Friday and Saturday. It'd be a little easier. We always race on July 4th, and it's really a pretty good turnout in the grandstand.
So we're planning on being here for the July 4th race.
Yeah.
But the 6th, I think, will be at Shenandoah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and I'll be honest with you, I've been toying with the idea of putting everything on the 4th and not
if you could
Memorial Day. Well, not just for you, but the Memorial Day deal we did the Friday and the Monday. Well, the Friday was great. The Monday was not. What I mean?
I think that day in between kind of hurts a little bit.
Well, it definitely does. It is what it is.
If we can do that 76 lap race on July 4th, I'll be there 110%.
The funny thing about that 76 lap race is I've had a couple people, that've reached out to me that haven't raced here. They're like, "Man, we'd like to come run that 76 lapper." And then I've had other people that, either race here or have talked about racing here. Go, "Man, I ain't racing no 76 lap race. I don't know what your idea of this. This is terrible."
They're a bunch of pansies.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of them in racing, so. This guy right
You
here
can take that thumb and put it somewhere else.
It separates the boys from the men, right?
I mean, it really does, for sure. That would be, I hadn't really put a lot of thought into it, but you guys would have to stop at some point, I would assume, for fuel.
I've run 60-some laps around Dominion nonstop on fuel before. I mean, it might be doable here, but if we have cautions, no.
Yeah.
If it's green flag, possibly, but if we have cautions, heck no.
Yeah, I've had a couple people, why don't you make that twin 38?
I think just halfway, have them come in, we'll fuel up and go back out.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I got a couple of schedule changes I'm gonna make here in the next few days. Just working on some stuff and trying to filter out some events and some things and move some divisions and races around to try to have better car count. At every race. That last race on the first was not good for me in every manner. So we'll figure that out. But I think we got a lot of really good races coming up, and hopefully you guys will be at most of those. I know you got other things going on in life. Everybody does. And, you got Shenandoah racing sometimes. So, no, anything else?
I think we about covered it.
I think we have to. We've only went for, an hour and 35 minutes. So, really is, I think, the longest episode of the year. Maybe Josh Phillips at the beginning of the year was longer. I'm not sure. But appreciate you guys coming down, and hopefully we'll look forward to having you guys racing with us here in the next few weeks.
Yep, I appreciate you having us.
Yeah, it's always nice.
All right, Noah, we're out of here. This has been the Pitch Chatter Podcast.